Hello! Welcome to Nightfall, the expansion for the game Parks. I'm your scout leader, and I'll be taking you on a scenic hike through the rules that Nightfall adds to the base game. Come on. Nightfall adds 24 new park cards, including 17 national parks not represented in the base game, meaning you can now explore every national park the US has to offer. These new cards also reward you with more than just points. They have exciting new instant actions. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. You can also unlock new actions by camping overnight with the tent action. After all, half the park is after dark. An all-new year deck gives you new year cards, new ways to obtain them, more ways to form unique strategies, and you now have the opportunity to collect multiple year cards. Get those points. And of course, there are a few new wildlife friends. Setup is the same as the base game with a few small and easy changes. Shuffle the Nightfall park cards in with the park cards from the base game. Then you'll place the deck on the board and reveal 3 cards, just like normal. Set up the trail just like you normally would, including placing the weather tokens. Then, place 3 tent tokens on the trail, starting with the space directly before the trail end and placing 1 on every other trail site until you've placed 3 tents. For a 4 to 5 player game, place 1 additional tent between the 2 tents closest to the trailhead. Then, place the campsite board below the trailhead, making sure it's on the correct side for the number of players you have. Shuffle the campsite tiles. Randomly pick 3 to add to the campsite area, making sure they're on their Season 1 side. In a 5-player game, also include the 5+ tile in the campsite area. The rest go back in the box. You also won't be using the year deck from the base game, so leave that in the box. Instead, shuffle the Nightfall year deck and deal 2 cards to each player, placing the deck on the campsite board. Each player now chooses 1 year card, and then discards the other to the bottom of the year deck. And the last step is to give each player a wildlife token to start the game with. That's it, we're all set up. Now let's take a look at the new park cards. The Nightfall park cards have new instant actions, which are denoted with this lightning bolt symbol. When you visit a park, pay the token cost as usual, and then you may choose to activate the instant action listed to the right of the lightning bolt. The instant action is optional, but can only be activated when you visit the park, so if you don't do it now, you won't get the chance again. I mean, you're in nature, you gotta live in the moment. For example, when you visit Grand Teton National Park, you pay 1 forest, 1 mountain, and 1 sun. You may then choose to activate the instant action, which in this case is the Parks action, which allows you to visit or reserve a park from the board. Nightfall parks may also feature this brown token symbol. Any combination of your tokens may be used toward this cost as long as the number of tokens paid matches the number inside the brown square. If you visit Death Valley National Park, you'll pay 2 sun tokens and then 2 of any other token. You may also then choose to take the instant action, which is paying 1 mountain to take a photo. If you have gear that gives you a discount when visiting a park, like this card, that discount only applies to the specific symbols listed on the card and does not apply to the brown token symbol. Let's gaze at the Nightfall year cards. The Nightfall year deck gives players new personal goals to guide your strategy during the game, and you can now collect and score multiple year cards. These goals are secret, so keep those cards face down until scoring at the end. The better you accomplish these goals, the more points you can score with them. For example, the Stargazer card gives you 1 point for every 3 suns across all your visited parks. The Kayaker gives you 2 points for every 3 parks you visited with a water. The dots at the bottom of the card show you how many copies of that card are in the deck. Handy. It's important to remember that icons that are part of instant actions do not count toward your year goals. So Hot Springs National Park wouldn't earn any points for the Kayaker year card, as its only water is to the right of the lightning bolt and part of the instant action reward. But Petrified Forest National Park would count, as its water is to the left of the lightning bolt. There's no limit to the number of year cards you can collect. However, if you have any duplicates, they only score once. But don't worry, you can exchange the duplicate for a new card by visiting a campsite. Some trail sites have a camp token on them. If your hiker lands on one of these spaces, they may choose to visit the trail site as usual, taking its action and any available weather tokens. Or you may visit the campsite instead. If you choose to visit the campsite, take the tent token and place it on an available campsite to take its action. A campsite is available if it does not already have a tent token on it. As a note, if you choose to use a tent token, you do not take weather tokens from the trail site. You have a tent, it protects you from the weather. Campsite actions sometimes change with the seasons, but the campsite board has a year action that is the same for the whole game. If you pitch your tent on the campsite board, turn in 3 sun tokens in exchange for 2 year cards from the deck. Choose 1 year card from your hand to discard to the bottom of the year deck. This card does not need to be one of the cards you just drew, which makes it a great way to get rid of any duplicate year cards. Scout Leader tip for you. In a 1 to 3 player game, 1 tent can be pitched on the campsite board. In a game with 4 or more players, there are 2 slots for tents. Some other campsite actions you might be able to take, depending on which campsite tiles were drawn for that game, include turn in a forest to gain 5 water, turn in a mountain to take a photo, up to 2 times on a turn. If you have the camera, any token may be used to take the photo. Or gain a water, reserve a park, and relight your campfire. All the campsite actions are explained in detail in the Nightfall rulebook. If you want to visit a trail site with a tent token, but another hiker is already there, don't forget that you can share the site by spinning your campfire. You may choose to perform the trail site's action, taking any weather tokens if they're available, or you may use the tent token to visit an available campsite and use the action there instead. If you have a gear card that references a specific trail site, that card will still activate when you choose to camp from that trail site. Just like in the base game, when one hiker is left on the trail, they must move to the trail end and prepare for a new season. Remove any weather tokens that are still on the trail, as well as all the tent tokens from the trail and the campsites. Make sure the campsites are on the side that matches the new season, based on the number in the bottom left-hand corner. This site needs to be flipped to its Season 2 side, making new campsite actions available this season. This site won't need to flip until Season 3. The year action on the campsite board stays the same for the entire game. After you set up a new trail, place the tent tokens on the trail sites, following the setup from the start of the game. You're ready for a new season. At the end of Season 4, the game ends, and it's time to score your park cards, photo tokens, and your year cards. Don't forget that the Nightfall year cards score incrementally. Just like in the base game, the player with the most points wins. If there's a tie, the player who visited the most parks wins. If there's still a tie, share the victory. For more details about all the individual cards, plus the solo mode, you can look in the Nightfall rulebook. Thanks for camping with me. Remember to have fun and enjoy your hike.